Hello, everybody. GL1 here. Welcome to the premier online toy museum. And today I wanted to share with you my purchase of Proceratosaurus. This I got yesterday. Found this at Target, and there was only one. This is a really cool dinosaur because this is a very early Tyrannosaurid. But it has quite a complex history of them trying to figure out what it was. So the toy itself obviously is very small, and what you see on it is you see what looks like a horn, but it's really more of a nasal structure, so air could go in there, and it probably assisted in making various sounds. Being one of the smaller toys, the teeth are molded right into the skull. It's hard to get that separate tooth plastic in there. But it also looks like what they've gone back to is putting the scan tool on the foot instead of having a little pull-up thing, which actually the pull-up thing works better because this is really small and it can get dirty if you're playing with it outside, and then it will, if you have the app on your phone or something, it makes it hard to scan. So I'm not thinking that's moving in the right direction, but they started to do it on a lot of the new dinosaurs. So this is, part of the Frenzy Pack. Frenzy Packs are cool because you get dinosaurs that you wouldn't normally find. Now, the Proceratosaurus was about 10 feet long and goes back 166 million years ago. And if we can assume that it's about the same size as Guanlong, which was 11 feet and 270 pounds, so maybe it's around that, but we'll get to Guanlong in a little bit. Now, the thing about classifying this dinosaur, initially they thought it might be a Megalosaurus, and that was in 1910. And then by 1926, someone thought, well, maybe it's a Ceratosaurus. So I brought up Ceratosaurus and Megalosaurus to show you that and see, you can see maybe how they were thinking. Because, one of the things is that Proceratosaurus has 3 fingers, and so does Ceratosaurus. So Ceratosaurus was 153 million years ago, so a little bit after, about 10 million years later, 17 to 23 feet long, and about 2,200 pounds, so about as heavy as a Clydesdale. It's known for its horn that it has on its nose. But as you can see, Ceratosaurus has 4 fingers. So Tyrannosaurids the early ones didn't always have 2 fingers. The toy itself is a pretty cool toy. They made several. I have 3, and then I have a Hammond collection, so 4 altogether, but 3 that are kind of the simplified version. They have hip articulation, arm articulation in the shoulders, and this one is the newer one that has a switch on the back, and that's how you get the sound. But because it is a couple, 2-3 years old, it does have the scan on the bottom of the foot, and you can see how small that is. And I did have the app for a while, but I found it once it also took up it took up a lot of memory, and 2, it was difficult to scan things. All right, so Megalosaurus here, I did a show on this a year ago, episode 467, and the reason is Megalosaurus was the first named dinosaur, and actually its bones were discovered as early as the 1600s, but they thought it was some kind of mammoth. They didn't know what it was. But the first named dinosaur in 1824, so last year was the 200th anniversary, and that was the show I did. Now, you can see on this toy, you have the separate plastic teeth, so it had gotten along. This came out last year, so, a year ago they started doing that. The scan device is not on the bottom of the foot. You see, it's a pull-up here. And see how large that is, and it's not going to get dirty, so much better. It makes sound. You actuate that with the wheel, and you have articulation in the shoulders and in the hips. All that, and it still falls over rather easily, though. So to get it to try to balance on the 2 feet is difficult. The feet are small. They're probably more accurate compared to the size of the dinosaur. but as a toy, it makes it fall over easily. So what they could have done is made the feet shift in and out, but I think they wanted to stay in the $19 price point or so, and that, that every articulation they put in increases it. But if you have it sit up like kind of like the old style dinosaurs on its tail, dragging its tail, it stays up all right. Now, Megalosaurus was about 20 feet long, about 1,500 pounds, and was around the same time as Proceratosaurus, so also 166 million years ago. All right, so to remind you, they thought it was related to either one of those, but as it turns out, it was not. But I also wanted to go into some of the other complex relationships of megalosaurids. So here is Guanlong. This is from South America. Actually, Megalosaurus was discovered in England. So in South America, this is 125 to 113 million years ago, 20 feet long, 1,700 pounds. The toy obviously is not to scale as an adult because it should be, about as big as the Megalosaurus. It was thought to be a Tyrannosaurid, and then it was thought to be a Megalosaurid, but then they ended up, as they study more and they get better at studying the bones, it's a Ceratosaurus. So it's related to this fella over here. You could see it's got the 4 fingers. Not that that's, always the indicator. The toy itself is pretty cool. It looks scary. I like this one because you can rotate the head all around. So you can bite from different angles and you can, adjust the mouth how you want. Like a turkey or chicken, it has these, kind of hanging down like pieces that, turkeys and chickens have. You push a button here. He's wounded. He's feeling better. It has articulation in the shoulders. It's a lot of features on this small toy. You don't have the lateral hip articulation, but of course forward and back, and you can move the tail. So this has just a lot of features to it. They made a simplified one. Here's this one. And this one, you push a button and the mouth opens and closes. So that's pretty cool. But you see you have your scan device there, not on the foot. So that's pretty cool. And this guy doesn't stand well unless you kind of tip him over like that. This one, it also has, you pull it up. Yeah, there's a scanner there. All right. So another megalosaurid, part related to Megalosauridae, okay, is this fella here. And I just thought he was really cool looking because it looks like Guanlong, but kind of, bigger and more frightening because it has all these, bone protrusions and spikes on it. Look, there's your scanner. And look at those big, really Megalosaurus-like hands. 3 fingers, but big, 3 big fingers. And this guy was 14 feet and 1,000 pounds. So, a little bit smaller, the size of some horses, found in Argentina, 179 to 178 million years ago. And let's see if I can get this name read correctly. It's Pianitskysaurus. And it was named after a guy. So that's why it has such an unusual name like that. But anyway, a cool dinosaur, right? Very cool looking. And look at, it's even got the biceps and tricep definition there. So very lean, right? Doing a lot of reps. All right. Well, as it turns out, we'll get back to Proceratosaurus, which is a Tyrannosaurid. And as time has gone on, they've discovered that it is most closely related to Guanlong, which was from China. And Proceratosaurus was found in England, just like Megalosaurus. So that's one of the probably maybe contributing to thinking that it was a megalosaur. What's interesting is, England and China have had an interesting relationship over the years, over the past, 300-400 years. And so, their dinosaurs are closely related for no reason at all. So Guanlong was 163 million years ago, so about 3 million years newer. than Proceratosaurus. It's about 11 feet long, 270 pounds. And the toy has your scanner right up there. And this is a new toy. So they are capable still of putting the scanner there, but it looks like on many of them, they've gone to the foot. It's cool that it has these, nails in the back for kicking. And they made it feathered because there is evidence that Guanlong was feathered. So really cool dinosaur. Didn't have the kind of feathers for flying, more like a downy fur for staying warm. And you can see here it has the 3 fingers. All right, well, another Tyrannosaurid, so now that we're going, in the vein of Tyrannosaurids, is Alioramus. So Alioramus, a lot later, like 90 years later, 70 million years ago, only juveniles have been found. So juvenile, they estimate to be about 18 feet long and 1,000 pounds. Whether it got much bigger, not sure. But as you can see, Alioramus has the 2-finger design, just like a T-Rex, and a really big, frightening mouth, and some horns, that are kind of like Ceratosaurus, which had just 1 horn. But you could see, even a Tyrannosaurid can have a horn. So Alioramus was also found in Asia. Well, moving on, that Alioramus was most closely related to the Chinese T-Rex, Tarbosaurus, which was 70 to 66 million years ago. So really contemporary with Tyrannosaurus rex, but over in China. And this dinosaur had the 2nd largest skull of a Tyrannosaurid ever found, second only to T-Rex, but a 4.4 foot long skull. Its body design very much like T-Rex, smaller, about 33 feet long and 10,000 pounds. T-Rex, often about 40 feet long and about 14,000 pounds. So larger, but this is, still very much a similarly designed gigantic theropod dinosaur. The toy itself is really cool. You can rotate the head back and forth, going or grabbing something and then just kind of throwing it or coming after it, one way or the other. So the toy you can rotate the feet out to help it balance. It doesn't have any lateral hip articulation. You do have lateral shoulder articulation. But overall, one of my favorite Tyrannosaurid toys. So really cool. And I think, again, kind of interesting now, the United States and China, if you ever look on the map, China and the United States look very similar in shape, and they have very similar dinosaurs. They're discovering so many dinosaurs in China. It's becoming such a great place to find dinosaurs, and so is the United States. So anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you can find yourself a Proceratosaurus so you can understand all these complex relationships between it and probably all your other dinosaurs in your collection. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.